Welcome back to another video here on Anth.Tech, and we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Dell XPS 9560. This is the 15.6-inch version of the Dell XPS, and let's go ahead and check this out. So like I said before, we're going to be taking a look at the Dell XPS 9560, and here it is. Now this one does pack the 4K screen, and it is touchscreen, but the color accuracy and everything on the screen is just looking really well, and it's a lot better than our 1080p models of the Dell XPS. So if you want the Dell XPS, I would definitely get the 4K models. Now this does pack the i7-7700HQ processor, and for graphics it's also packing the GTX 1050. And then for RAM, it's also got 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. And then for storage, it's also packing 512 gigabytes of PCIe SSD storage. So as you can tell, this Dell XPS is pretty beefy and pretty powerful. Now let's go and jump into the review over the 9560. So here is the brand new Dell XPS 9560. As you can tell, it is in a full metal jacket, which does look really nice. Here we can see the back end of it. And as you can tell, that little strip of black bar does sort of remind you of like an old MacBook from a couple years ago. Here we can see the carbon fiber deck on the laptop, which really does add like that Lamborghini look, and then that nice infinity display, which is 4K and looks fabulous on the XPS. Now when it comes to specs, here we can see we are running the i7-7700HQ processor at 2.8 GHz with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it is a 64-bit operating system, and it does have touch support with 10 touch points. Now when it comes to the graphics card, here we can see we're running the GTX 1050 from NVIDIA. When it comes to hardware on the Dell XPS 9560, Dell does not fall short of anything. It's in a full metal jacket and some nice premium materials. The only thing in plastic I can see on the outside is going to be this black bar on the back. Now for ports, on the left side, we have our power, USB 3.1, HDMI, USB-C, which is Thunderbolt, so I can do 40 gigabytes per second. So if you have multiple monitors, multiple keyboard and mouses, or anything like that, plug in one cable, which is USB Type-C, power, all that kind of stuff. And then also there is a headphone jack. When it comes to the right side, over here we have Kensington lock, a battery indicator if you press the button, and then also another USB. And then next to that we have an SD card reader. So if you do have a camera like mine, like I have the A6300, pop in the SD card and you should be good to go, especially if you're running Premiere. And that's going to be for the ports on the Dell XPS 15. So when it comes to performance on the Dell XPS, it is really snappy and really fast. But when you run a benchmark test like the Unigine, like we're running right now, here we can see the frame rate is averaging about 10 frames per second, but it does dip to about 6 frames per second, which is really not that good. But when it comes to gaming, like here we are in Fortnite, it is actually not that bad, playing about 30 frames per second, and it does dip a little bit, but it also does go a little bit over. Now this is totally playable, but it's obviously not that good when you really want about 60 frames per second or higher. As you can tell, it is not that bad, and I'm also really not good at Fortnite, so that's why I just died. Now jumping into Premiere, here we can tell it is really snappy and really fast. There's almost practically no lag in here, but I did go to sequence and I did render into out, and that's why we have that green timeline bar up at the top, so that's why it's playing pretty fluently. Now if you don't run sequence into out, which takes about 15-20 minutes, it will be kind of rough and you may not get that good of an experience. Here we can see color grading and everything is really good and really snappy. So now when it comes to the inside hardware, you probably know if you've ever seen a Dell XPS, they are known for having the real thin bezels on the corners. Now on the bottom, it does have a pretty big bottom bezel. But other than that, all the other bezels are really nice and small, and that's what the Dell XPS is known for. So it's really good for productivity, and the 4K screen and the brilliant colors really makes the screen look really good. So the keyboard on the XPS is really not that bad, so don't get me wrong when I say this, but the keyboard on here is really not that good. When you look at something like the MacBook Pro keyboard, it almost feels like mechanical, but it isn't. Now the keyboard in here is backlit, which is really nice. It has either full blast, half, which is like dimmed, or completely off. Having the backlit is really nice, especially in low light. Now when it comes to the speakers on this laptop, just keep in mind this is coming from a laptop, so don't expect heavy bass or any good clarity. So now that you just heard the Dell XPS speakers, let's go and jump over to my computer, and I have the Bose Companion 5s just for comparison between the laptop speakers and my desktop speakers. Now just keep in mind, I have a full subwoofer and 2 satellite tweeters. Now this is a pretty good combo, so let's go ahead and run the speaker test on mine. So now that you just heard the speaker test from my Bose Companion 5, as you could probably tell, the subwoofer did really punch through, and so did the clarity. Okay, that's going to wrap up the review of the Dell XPS 9560. Hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button down below, as it really helps out. And also the link to this laptop will be down below, where you're going to check that out too. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel here, Anth.Tech, please do that, as it really helps out. And also please don't forget to hit that bell notification, that way you don't miss out when a new video goes live. Also don't forget to check out the Anth.Tech premium subscriber portal, as in that way you can see early videos and then also paid only content. If you use code YouTube, that will get you your first month for free, so go ahead and use that code while you can. And as always, stay classy.